Here, my name is Sajid and I'm here to present about virtual reality. Virtual reality is a very unique concept. It has been introduced for quite a while, but it's still an emerging technology. Virtual reality is the use of computer technology to create a simulated environment. Virtual reality's most immediately recognizable component in the head mount it's in the head mounted display. That's how it is, as shown in the image on the right. Human beings are visual creatures, and display technology that is often the single biggest difference between immersive virtual reality and other traditional user interfaces. There are quite a lot of big industries that are using virtual realities, and mostly are using for gaming, such as HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, and my personal favorite, PlayStation VR. There are other industries like Google, but they're not using it on a bigger scale. So, virtual reality is the use of computer technology to create in the simulated environment, as it says on the first point. Unlike traditional user interfaces, VR places the user inside an experience. Instead of viewing a screen in front of them, users are immersed and able to interact with 3D worlds by simulating as many senses as possible, such as vision, hearing, touch, and even smell, as it is being developed in the recent world. The computer is transformed into a gatekeeper into to this artificial world that many of the population love. The only limits, there are few limits to this, as they are near real. It's getting there, but it's still not real enough. And the availability of content, and obviously the price of VR. Moving on. So the reason I chose this topic, because I have a really huge gaming addiction. It has been there for the longest time. It has been there for more than 10 years. And introduction of VR has intrigued me a lot more. And gaming industry right now is the biggest budget industry in the world. So introduction of VR makes it even more higher. And I've been always intrigued by this industry because it keeps growing. From the first game, which came out in 1994, as you can see on the top right of the screen, that's the first VR game. It doesn't look the best. It has been developing, and in 2020 they developed a game called Half-Life Alyx. This game was on top of its game. It was released on PC and Oculus Rift. This game was on top of its line, and as you can see, it looks fantastic. And this is supposedly a VR game. It has topped the charts, and it has been rated 10 out of 10 by everyone, especially because it's an VR game. I mentioned how much I'm into VR gaming. I love the gaming aspect of VR. So moving on, how does VR simulate real life? That's the question asked by everyone. So the basics of how VR works. The primary subjects of VR virtual reality is simulating the vision. Every headset aims to perfect their approach to creating an immersive 3D environment. Each headset puts up a screen, two or one, usually two, as shown on the right side. It's one for each eye, in front of the eyes, eliminating any interaction with real world. Two autofocus lenses are generally placed between the screen and the eye that adjust based on individual eye movement and positioning. The visual on the screen are rendered either by using a mobile phone or an HDMI cable, which is connected to the PC or the PS4. On the right side, as you can see, this one is a PlayStation, as it would be connected to a PlayStation. To create a truly immersive virtual reality, there are certain prerequisites. A frame rate of minimum 60 frames per second, that is the minimum. Anything below that would ruin the experience and the quality of the game. The minimum field of view should be 100 degrees. That's the minimum, and the ideal one is 180 degrees. The frame rate is the rate at which GPU can process the images, and the images are shown on the screen. So if you have to be, it has to be 60. You should be able to see 60 frames every second. So that's when it looks realistic, and there's no lag. Yeah, the screen refresh rate is the pace of display at render images, and FOV, the field of view, is the extent to which the display can support eye and head movement. This is how much you can see the field of view. If either of these doesn't work as per standard, the user can experience latency errors, latency issues, too much time gap between their actions and response on the screen, which will ruin the whole experience. We need the response time to be less than 20 milliseconds to trick the brain, which is achieved by combining all the above factors in the right proportion. Another issue is that it needs to be catered here to prevent tearing resulting due to inconsistency between frame rates and refresh rate. If the GPU's FPS is more than the screen's FPS, the image can become distorted. This is a big issue. To counter this issue, we limit the frame rate to the monitor's exact same refresh rate, called which is usually 60 frames, by using VSync. Among the major headsets available today, Vive and Rift both provide 110 frame rate. Google Cardboard has 90 frame rate, which is very cheap. It's like less than $10. Uh, the Gear VR has 96, and the newest Google's Daydream offers 120 degrees. The PlayStation's the PlayStation's VR is the lowest, which offers 60 frames per second, as it is not developed enough, but is yet still my favorite. So the impact of sound is very important in VR, as sound effects, when synced with visual, can create very engaging effects. By using the headphones and the 3D sounds effect, the user's belief in the virtual environment can be reassured. While crafting 3D sounds effects, due to care needs to be taken about the consistency between the graphics and the sound. You start playing horror music in the background of a fairy tale movie, it will just put the user off, obviously. The head and the eye tracking movement. This is quite important, as eye and head tracking movement can be ensured using laser pointers, LED lights, or mobile sensors. In mobile, we use the accelerometer to detect three-dimensional movement, gyroscope for angular movement, and magnetometer to identify the position relative to the Earth. If we need to achieve a very high accuracy, then the camera and the sensor can be installed in the room where you would use the headset, although this is a much costlier setup compared to the basic phone setup. Oculus Rift is quite expensive. It could go up to $1,000 compared to Google's Cardboard, which is $5. Obviously, the quality is very different from both these two devices. Moving on, the applications in real life. So, starting with the biggest industry, gaming. Gaming has become one of the biggest industries, and VR keeps upgrading. It keeps going higher. Every year, there is a game that tops the previous game. The quality increases, the quantity increases, as it is said to be the biggest industry in the whole world. This is biggest industry next to traditional gaming. Moving on to the next one, which is the automotive industry. VR allows engineers and driver and designers to experiment easily with the look and build of a vehicle before commissioning expensive prototypes. Brands such as BMW and Jaguar already use VR to hold early design and engineering reviews to check the visual design and object obscuration of the vehicle, all before any money has been spent on physically manufacturing the part. VR has been saving the automotive industry millions by reducing the number of prototypes built per vehicle line. The next one is the healthcare. Healthcare is very important application where it can save millions of lives. Healthcare professions can now use virtual models to prepare themselves for working on real bodies. VR has even been used as pain relief for burn injuries. VR can also be used as a treatment for mental health issues, with virtual reality exposure therapy thought to be particularly effective in the treatment of PTSD and anxiety. There are many other ways spending time in VR can have therapeutic benefits. Next is retail. The problem with online shopping is that we can't try on the clothes we want to before we want to buy them, which results in us buying two sizes and sending one back and ordering one size and praying it fits your shape and size. Due to pandemic, this also is scary as shopping can be hard. This could soon change with body scanning technology in VR, which allow us to try clothes in virtual world and see how they will look in person. Various companies are attempting to bring the VR shopping experience, including the European retailer ASOS, who invested in the software development company Trililium. The next is tourism. Tourism is quite big. Imagine being able to try on your holiday before you buy it. This is exactly the future could hold. The industry is taking steps in enabling for you to go on guided virtual tours of the hotel, restaurants, and tourist landmarks. Thomas Cook launched their first VR experience for hotels in 2015, where potential holiday makers visitors stores in various countries to experience the holiday in VR before booking it. There was a 190% uplift in New York excursion bookings after people tried the 5-minute version of the VR. Real estate, you can VR can be fantastic. You can look around an apartment or a property from the comfort of your existing home. No estate agent or you should be sacrificing your weekend to go look at the apartment. This allows people to explore houses online and then only view the ones you like the most and love. And architecture is quite big as well. VR is gradually changing the way architectures design and experiment with their work. VR makes it possible to see not just what a building or space will look like and how it will feel like. For homeowners, they can experience the space before physically having it built or make real-time changes, which saves the customer and the architect time and money. It could also be used in gambling. You could play poker, which is similar to gaming. Learning and development. L&D department are beginning as the pandemic comes. The department is beginning to open up to VR. With companies such as Virtual Speech providing virtual training and soft skills, they combine VR apps with web VR to work with companies to integrate their corporate training into current LMS. Moving on. So the advantages of VR. The first helps with impressive word visualization. You can be so sure about the greatness of virtual reality. It helps in exploring various facts and can be alternate the level of experience. You can wear a VR headset, you can experience the best quality visualizations, allows students to get engaged. These days it has become very difficult for the teachers to conduct a classroom interaction sessions. With the introduction of virtual reality technology, the interactions with the students have become so easy. The students can with the help of virtual reality, speak about their personal experiences. Creating interest. Virtual reality has made watching more enjoyable than reading. VR technicality is extremely interesting and engaging. VR technology creates enjoyable experiences. This technology motivates the students to learn and know better. Improves educational values. The doctors take advantages of VR technology to know about the new traits of medicine. VR technology also works best in fields of editing and content writing. It helps in locating mistakes in contents. There are preferred software arrangements to make fault detections. VR technology also helps with the perfect editing options. It also helps to overcome language barrier. Language barrier is a significant problem in field of education. In case you are not studying in your hometown and you need to adopt a dialect of a place where you considering, with the implementation of virtual reality, the problem can be solved by implementing the suitable software. Moving on to the disadvantages of VR. It lacks flexibility. In a classroom, you can act with flexibility. You are option to give suggestions and ask questions. This is not possible with virtual reality. With virtual reality, you can make use of the same program in all sessions. There is no scope for positive interaction. Ineffective human connections. Virtual reality comes with set of disadvantages. The conventional education system is mainly based on interpersonal connections and the level of individual human communication. The concept of virtual reality is different, it is only about you and the software. Getting addicted. This, I have experienced this with gaming. Getting addicted to virtual reality is extremely